What is up, my friends? Your weekend has officially started. It is Friday night. It is the late night agenda. And as always, it is a pleasure to be here with you. We're going to talk the title of tonight's stream. Who has recommended that Liverpool cash in on Alisson Becker? Well, all that will become clear soon enough. We're going to be talking about possible Anfield Agenda summer shows, hopefully in a city near you, and a couple of other bits and pieces. We'll be giving you more quotes from Jurgen Klopp's press conference, looking ahead to the game against Manchester United on Sunday, and asking, is it really on, the quadruple? Because I tell you what, I'm feeling it right now. So, my friends, appreciate you all. And again, I want to start off the stream with a huge thank you. I noticed just before I went live, JC Galvanale gifted 50 Anfield Agenda memberships. Absolutely legendary stuff, mate. Thank you. And as you've said with your message there, 7 days, he says, until... I'm going to reword it a little bit for you, bro. Until we get to me face to face and finally share that man hug you've been looking forward to. But JC, thank you, mate. Appreciate it. And yes, 7 days until we're in Boston. It's amazing. Can't wait to be there. Can't wait for this season. Can't wait for the remainder of it. Can't wait to see what happens come May time. And of course, we'll be discussing the Europa League final as well in Dublin, our pathway through to that, what you guys can maybe expect if you're going to visit Dublin, and anything else. It's Friday night. Let your hair down and relax. What was that? You have no hair? No. Be nice. And as Ben said in the chat, and Connor said in the chat as well, we are closing in on 250,000 subscribers. We are now only 388 away, or 82 away, sorry, from hitting that milestone. So any support is greatly appreciated. So don't worry, I haven't lost my mind. I haven't suggested we sell Alisson Becker, because I know I read the comment and I get it. A lot of people coming in and go, what are you talking about? Not me. I'm not that silly. But somebody reckons we should sell him, and we're going to talk about that. But I do want to gauge your interest in this as well. I want to know, is it something that you would ever consider? Is there going to be a time where maybe we do cash in on Alisson Becker? I think with the Michael Edwards coming into the club again, the age profile of some of the squad members is becoming a bit more nerve-wracking for me anyway. I've been looking at who may or may not be, I don't want to say surplus to requirements, because that definitely isn't the right phraseology, but we know that Michael Edwards won't be tempted to keep people around just because of their past dealings or their past contributions to Liverpool. He will look at the numbers and what it means at this moment. And I guess with the fact that Alisson is out, with the fact that he's had a couple of injuries, and the fact that Caoimhín Kelleher is, well, playing really, really well, it has... there's been a few conversations. Rio Ferdinand was talking about Caoimhín Kelleher and comparing him with Onana and stuff. We'll move into exactly who was saying perhaps sell him. And yeah, again, just love your talking points on this one. Brian in the chat as well. How are we, Brian? Said, let's get to 250k on this stream. No, we need that for Sunday, Brian. We need to celebrate that for the United game. And we've never, ever gotten 300, nearly 400 subscribers in a nightly stream. So I think wishful thinking. Right, let's get into it. Let's start off with the title of tonight's stream, because there's lots of people in the chat already, and you're probably wondering what the hell I'm talking about. So, Darren Bent, speaking on TalkSport, said... Alisson Becker has been one of the best players in recent seasons, and TalkSport pundit Darren Bent believes that the Reds would sell him if we got 70 or 80 million pound. He went on to say, he was bought for 67 million pound. I'm going to go with, he's 31 years old, but goalkeepers can go on. I'm going to say Liverpool sell him, or he goes for 70 to 80 million pound. I want to know your thoughts on that. Do you think that Darren Bent is on the right track, or do you think that there isn't a number and it's just foolishness? Again, the floor is yours. Let us know. Pranav said, Ali is going nowhere. No way, sell Alisson. Nope, said Baber Khan. Look, I agree. I agree with what Darren Bent said as well with regard to goalkeepers being able to go on and on. Alisson Becker being 31 is basically 25 for an outfield player. So I certainly wouldn't be looking to cash in on Alisson Becker. I think he's the best goalkeeper in the world, and I understand that where you have a difficult decision to make over the future of Caoimhín Kelleher, and of course Caoimhín will be a massive part of that decision himself, but I wouldn't be looking to cash in on Alisson Becker. But it did get me thinking though, if we did look to cash in, what would the number be? Do you think that the number, put it out there, 70, 80 million pound is his value in today's market? it's a difficult one. I mean, you look at what other clubs have paid for keepers, and you'd have to say if there is a record for a goalkeeper to be broken again, maybe ALISSON is the person who breaks that record once again. I mean, I know we brought him in and then Kepa was brought to Chelsea and ALISSON wasn't the most expensive keeper for long, but if we were to sell him right now, if he went into this market, what would he go for? Bent was never the sharpest pencil in the box, said Baber Khan. Look, as a rule, I try to avoid talk sport, but sometimes a talking point pops up, and there has been some conversations over the past couple of weeks about Caoimhín Kelleher, how well he's playing and what the future looks like. And I guess it kind of all ties itself together, really. Mayo Nice said 150 million. Niller Diller said 100 million pound, 150 for Average Beast, 100 for Namon. Any more figures in there? CD Sava said 85 million, 100 million for Red Fox. Above 150 for Dave Smith. Ali ain't for sale. Kelleher will stay. I'd love that to happen, Tanya. I mean, that's a dream scenario for me. Both of them. You know, Alisson's contracted to Liverpool until 2027, so the club are in no huge rush or need to renegotiate with Alisson at the moment. But the Kelleher situation, look, if we end up in the summer with Kelleher staying at the club and we start the season with both of them, I'm not going to be at all displeased. I absolutely love the goalkeeping department that we have. It's a mute point, said Dave, he ain't going. I don't think so, Dave. I don't think he is either, but it is a point. Like some people have said, as an example, that Alisson doesn't walk back in and take the number 1 shirt off Kelleher at the minute. Now, again, I respectfully disagree with that viewpoint. I think he does, but you know, I'm conflicted because in one sense, I obviously love the idea that people are getting behind Caoimhín Kelleher and seeing how good he is. But I do think we're reactionary a lot of the time, and you might say this video is reactionary, which, again, touche. But I think I'm caught in the middle because I love the praise for Kelleher, but would I say he could dislodge Alisson? No, I wouldn't. I'm trying to be realistic about that. Happy days to keep both, Tanya. Absolutely, my friend. That would be ideal, but I don't know. I don't know if Caoimhín at 25 years of age, haven't had a taste now of, you know, big games under Jurgen Klopp, you know, 2 League Cup finals he's been in goal for. He's been part of the Europa League campaign. Obviously having a really good run in the league now since Alisson's injured. Maybe he feels, I want more of this. I want to be a first team goalkeeper, and my days of being a number 2 are over. And I could understand that entirely because he's probably getting to the point where he's too good to be a number 2. We got the best possible draw in the Europa League, said JC. Yep. Again, we'll talk about that in a moment, my friend, but I agree with you. Here comes Brian in, gifting 50 Anfield Agenda memberships. So, early people into the chat will have been gifted 100 in total so far between JC and Brian. Absolutely incredible, gentlemen. Thank you both. And both, by the way, if you're going to be with us in Boston, will be there at the live show as well. So you can get to meet Brian, JC, myself, Connor, obviously my wife Sabrina. We'll all be there in Boston and can't wait. Cannot wait. This time next week, we will be in Boston. Didn't we pay 100 million for Alisson? No, 67 million pound is what Liverpool paid, which was a record at the time until I think Chelsea coughed up, I want to say it was about 70 million for Kepa. It's just noise they're trying to create, said ICU. Look, I don't think they're trying to destabilise anybody. Like, of all the stuff TalkSport have said and done over the years, this to me is just a conversation point more than anybody trying to undermine anyone. It is going to be a tricky summer in that regard, and I think we're also going to have some very difficult conversations around the contract renewals as well. With Michael Edwards coming in and Richard Hughes, you know, we're going to have some tricky conversations around who gets contract renewals, who doesn't, and who gets moved on. A couple of things though while we're early in the stream. As you know, we're going to be in Boston next week and it's an international break. So what I'm going to do over the next few days is record a series of videos to give you a breakdown of what to expect from Richard Hughes. So let's get to know Richard Hughes a little bit better. Same again about Michael Edwards, an explainer about Michael Edwards. We're going to do something around the Aviva Stadium for people who are looking to come over for the Europa League final. I'm going to give you a breakdown of what you can expect in and around Dublin, the layout of the city, the stadiums and everything like that. We're going to do a Mohamed Salah celebration video where we talk about his 7 seasons in a row of 20 plus goals. And we're going to do a bit on Amorim and a bit on Alonso as well. So all of those videos are going to come out over the international break. So make sure you keep an eye out on the channel. Ali can play till he's 37, 38. Absolutely, Nick. Absolutely. Craig, will you be going to Anfield for the last game of the season? No, not for the last game of the season. Potentially for the semi-final of the Europa League, but no, not last game of the season because I'll be here. Cundy disgusts me. Well, I would put myself in that category as well. I don't like TalkSport. I'm just putting it out there. There's a lot about TalkSport I don't like, but yes, if I could single out one person, it would be Jason Cundy. I do not like that man in any way, shape or form. I don't like him one bit. But we're not here to talk about negativity tonight. We're here to look ahead and let's recap. The draw for the Europa League was made earlier on. I'm sure you've seen it. We discussed it at 4 o'clock. But for those of you who may not, it looks a little something like this. On the top half of the draw, we've got Benfica against Olympique Marseille. And the winner of that will take on the winner of Liverpool versus Atalanta. Now, Liverpool's fixture schedule has been confirmed, and I will go through that for you guys now. Liverpool will take on Atalanta at Anfield on April the 11th. April the 11th, 8 o'clock kickoff for the home leg against Atalanta. And the away leg a week later, April 18th, again, 8 p.m. kickoff time. The good news, should Liverpool get through, the second leg of the semi-final will be at Anfield. So that's some good news. But let's look at the bottom half of that draw. So AC Milan in an all-Italian tie are going to be taking on Roma. And the winner of that will take on the winner of Bayer Leverkusen versus West Ham. Second leg of that West Ham game will be at the London City Stadium. And again, Roma will be home for the second leg against Milan. So the good news is we can't face Alonso until the final. So Liverpool on one half of the draw, and I bank us to get through because I think we've the easier half. And on the other half of the draw, we'll face one of AC Milan, Roma, Leverkusen or West Ham if we make it to Dublin. I did call that, by the way, last night. I did say to you that I've got a feeling Leverkusen are going to end up drawing West Ham. I got ours wrong. I did say I think Liverpool will get Benfica, but I was wrong on that one. Jamie said, Craig, you're my favourite YouTuber. Appreciate that, mate. I mean, quite a collection of YouTubers out there to be a fan of, so appreciate you enjoying the channel, mate. I can't think of why, but I keep mispronouncing Cundy. Yeah, it's an easy thing to do, mate. I've often mispronounced his name myself when I've been talking about him. Probably the same mispronunciation as your good self. The draw was amazing for us, both the Champions League and the Europa League draw, said Alejandro. Yeah, we'll move on to have a look at the Europa League, or excuse me, the Champions League draw in a moment. Xabi Alonso reckons we're favourites though. And I say we from the point of view of he's not a Liverpool manager yet. I mean us as in Liverpool. He said, for me it's clear, I really see Liverpool as the favourites to win the Europa League. Now, of course, he's trying to take some of the pressure off his own players there as well as giving an honest opinion. And I don't think he's too far wrong. I would make Liverpool the favourites for it as well. Can you say hi, Farrell? Yes, hi Farrell sisters. Welcome in. Nice to have you in. Champions League draw looks a little bit like this. Bottom half of the draw is by far the trickier in this one as well. But on the top half, it's Atletico Madrid against Borussia Dortmund. And then PSG against Barcelona. So whoever comes through in that part of the draw will have a trickier time because the bottom half, they'll have an easier path but a tricky final. The bottom half is Real Madrid against Manchester City. Second leg of that at the Etihad. And then it's Arsenal against Bayern Munich. Second leg at the Emirates. And interestingly, I believe there'll be no Bayern Munich fans allowed at the Emirates because of a punishment from UEFA, which means their next Champions League game means no fans away from home. So Arsenal will have the whole capacity of the Emirates for their fans. So you would imagine whoever gets through that side of the draw probably wins it. I think the winner of Real Madrid Manchester City will go on to win the Champions League personally, but interested to know what you guys think. Craig, do you think that Diaz will leave in the summer? Honestly, I don't know, but there has been a lot of talk about Diaz moving on this week. A lot of it coming from Colombia, some of it coming from Paris and France. He's been mentioned as a potential replacement for Kylian Mbappe, although so was Marcus Rashford from Manchester United. AC Milan have been rumoured to be interested in Diaz as well. What was that you said, Craig? Would there be a swap deal there for Rafael Leao? Now, calm down. I didn't say it, you said it, but I don't know. Be worth exploring. And then on the other side of it, another move that he was linked with was, of course, Barcelona. But let's be honest, Barcelona don't have the money to buy Lucho at this moment in time. Not for what Liverpool would ask anyway. Will Verge leave? So, honestly, the conversations I've had with people this week behind the scenes around Virgil van Dijk has been met with some mixed responses. Now, I've got to start off by saying nobody, and I mean nobody I've spoken to from the journalist side, from the fan side, nobody wants Verge to go. Everybody wants Verge to get a new deal. But I think the whole Michael Edwards thing has made people a bit nervous because lots of chatter that he's not a fan of keeping players into their 30s, shall we say, and he looks to extract value at that point and maybe move them on. Now, I really, really hope that doesn't happen. But if I was to give you a preference of what I think the contract renewals look like, I think Trent gets done. I don't see much issues there. Verge, people are kind of on the fence on it, honestly. From the view of not what we want. We want him to stay, but from the point of view of the likelihood of it, people are a bit nervous about that with Michael Edwards coming in. And then obviously you've got Mohamed Salah, which regardless of who is going to be running the football side of things, you know, we need to figure out what's going on with Mo this season, because at the end of this campaign, Virgil van Dijk, Mohamed Salah and Trent will be 1 year left on the contracts, and you've got to sort that out. You can't let them go into the last year of their deal. It's just stupidity. So what happens there? Paris and France get in my pants, said JC Galvanil. I mean, surely thing. You started St. Patrick's Day already. Good. I'm glad you call it St. Patrick's Day, because I hate the way some Americans call it Patty's Day. That doesn't work for us Irish. It's St. Patrick's Day or Paddy's Day, not St. Patty's Day, which I've seen on a lot of stuff in the States. Just wrong. Right, I have a question, and I need your help. So, this afternoon I sat down and I had a call with Connor, and we decided that we are going to do a series of probably 3 shows in the UK in August, and we're going to do them in the week before the Premier League kicks off. Now, the question that I have for you good folks, if you are in the UK, I want to know your thoughts on our 3 cities that we're looking at, because obviously I'm going to have to lean on your knowledge of the geographical locations of Liverpool fans in the UK. Liverpool, that's a no-brainer. But other than that, what we're looking at doing is 3 shows over 5 days in probably Liverpool, Cardiff, Birmingham. I want to know, do you think they're the right 3 cities for Anfield Agenda to look at doing a show in the build-up to the Premier League kicking off? So the aim would be we do it the week before. Premier League kicks off around the 17th of August, so we'd be looking to do something 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th of August, something like that. But what we're looking at the minute is Liverpool, Cardiff and Birmingham. Craig, can you explain how if we win the Europa League it would impact the number of teams in the Champions League next year? It won't. It won't make a difference, because the only way it became a problem was if we had won the Europa League and finished outside the qualification places for the Champions League. So there'll be 5 teams in the Champions League next year. So if we win through going in through the Europa League, then a place less will go to the league. So it will be 4 places, but it will be the 5th place in the league because we'll be in that top 4. So I would think about it like, don't worry about it. We'll be in the Champions League and England will have 5 teams in it because of the coefficients and this weekend's or this midweek results. With us winning with Villa winning, with West Ham winning, and the goals that they've scored, that means that England will get one of those extra coefficient places. So there'll be 5 teams in the Champions League. So that's all we need to worry about, really. The rest of it's kind of noise. We'd have to fall outside the top 5 for it to become a problem, so I wouldn't worry about it. Now, if West Ham go on to win the Europa League, I don't know the answer to that question at this moment in time, because they're definitely going to finish outside the top 5. So I don't know then if 6 teams would go in. That's a question I'm going to have to look into, or pitch it back to the audience, because I haven't looked into it because I knew it wasn't going to be an issue for Liverpool. I'm sure one of the journalists have covered it though. We need a show in Glasgow, said JC, 100%. It's so far up though. It's a difficult one if you're trying to run a shows quickly over a few days, because Glasgow is, quite the way up from Liverpool. So that's why we're thinking kind of triangle between Cardiff, Liverpool, Birmingham. What about Manchester? If we're going to Liverpool, Manchester feels a bit too close. So probably Liverpool would do. Warrington is another city we're looking at, by the way, for the potential Liverpool show. We're looking at the Warrington Wolves Stadium. They have some parts of that they can rent out, corporate function rooms and stuff that could be big enough for it. Would I ever come to Toronto for a show? Absolutely. That would be the easiest one to do in North America, Canada, because my wife has family in Toronto. So, yes, a Toronto show would be brilliant because we could visit family and do the show. Just seen the behind the scenes video. Great roommate. Love the TV and fireplace too. Thank you. Yeah, people are always asking me to do a little quick thing on behind the scenes, so I was finished up earlier on. I just grabbed my phone and did a little quick 40-minute scoot around the room so you can see where I do my work from. Jacob said, next topic please. Yeah, when I'm ready. Sorry for looking for feedback, mate, but I don't want to throw thousands of quid booking a venue and it being the wrong part of the UK. So if you don't mind, I'll decide when I move on to the next topic, mate. But I take your point on board. And with that in mind, let us have a talk about Jayden Danns, who today signed a long-term contract with Liverpool Football Club, according to the club. They put out a post to say, Jayden Danns has signed a new long-term contract with Liverpool FC. Congratulations, Jayden, and absolutely congratulations, Jayden, from all of us. What a brilliant breakthrough season it's been for him. Same with Bobby Clark as well. We've been blessed this year with some really good breakthrough performances from young players, and whoever the next Liverpool manager is, be that Xabi Alonso, Ruben Amorim, I think we can say that they're coming into a club with a healthy conveyor belt of talent. How do you watch the game? Is it on the monitor? No. So when you see what I was scanning around the room, mate, there was a TV on a stand on wheels. I wheeled that over to the desk, and I have a skybox that I plug into that. So when I'm doing the watch-alongs, there's a TV beside me. Tanya said, Birmingham, great choice in the middle of the country. Thank you, Tanya. And that is probably the third option in all honesty. How long is the contract? They never state. Liverpool always just say a long-term contract, so they never really give out that details. Usually I would say, though, it'll be, halfway through a season, probably 4.5 years, maybe a bit longer. But yeah, they're not great, the club, about giving out contract lengths. Craig, is Michael Edwards suggesting to sell ALISSON? No, it's not Michael Edwards. It was Darren Bent, speaking on TalkSport, said Liverpool paid 67 million for him, and with Kelleher, doing, and I'm paraphrasing somewhat here, with Kelleher doing well, I could see them selling him for 60 or 70 million, or 70 or 80 million pound, and it just got me thinking: should we? Would we? Surely not. But something has to give, because I don't think Kelleher is going to be happy sitting as a number 2 for another season. But look, I certainly don't want to sell Alisson Becker. Not at all. Nor am I saying that Michael Edwards is likely to. It was just a talking point, because not only was Darren Bent speaking about the goalkeeping situation, Rio Ferdinand was also speaking about it. I don't know who he was, or it must have been on his own show or something, but he was talking about Onana and saying, Kelleher's only had a few good games. I think the person that was with him said, but Kelleher's playing well and Onana's not really done all that much. So there was talking there about what happened with Kelleher, and then with Darren Ben speaking about the ALISSON situation. And I've seen more and more people suggest, like I said at the start of the stream, that perhaps ALISSON doesn't walk straight back in and get the starting berth. I disagree. I think he should. George said, Craig, sorry to ask, but where is the setup video? It's on the shorts, mate. Look under the shorts on the channel. And I'm not sure if Connor put it on TikTok or not, but it's on the shorts. Good to see the channel smashing it, said Craig Hawkins. You deserve it, mate. Reckon you should still do Northampton or Milton Keynes Central-ish. Keep up the great work. Thank you. All these things really do help us to figure out, what the best catchment areas would be. Right, I want to move on to talk about the Michael Edwards scenario for a minute. And I want to talk about the contract extensions for Virgil van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Mohamed Salah. I think this is a really pivotal moment in Liverpool's current purple patch, if you want to call it that. It is really difficult to have a conversation and remove emotion from it, particularly when we're talking about Virgil and Mo. I think most of us will agree there is very few reasons, if any, to consider not giving Trent a new deal. I imagine that when Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes sit down, that will be one of the first things in the rim box to make sure that Trent Alexander-Arnold is tied down to a new long-term deal that, befits his status as the vice-captain of the club, recognises, obviously, his standing in football and the fact that he's a local boy and what he brings to the team. So I'm not expecting any issues whatsoever around that, unless, heaven forbid, Trent wanted to move away. I don't think that's going to be the case, so I would imagine that one is going to be straightforward. But the other two, Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah, this is where I think we as fans are going to have to brace ourselves a little bit. Now, we don't know what exactly will happen, but we do know that Michael Edwards is a bit different from Jurgen. Jurgen was the one in the past who pushed for a James Milner, a Jordan Henderson, these players to get contracts into their 30s. We know FSG and the club not really so fond of keeping players that late. And if you look at it from the point of view of value, you're going to have to ask yourself right now, how much longer, one, can Virg and Mohamed Salah continue to play at the top level? Now, of course, we as fans think minimum 2, 3, 4 years, and you're probably correct. But we also have to look at the Michael Edwards factor of looking for value. And we spoke earlier on in the season about the Newcastle sporting director coming out and saying that they might have to look at the Liverpool model of selling a player to start the rebuild again. So remember, when we sold Felipe Coutinho, that allowed us the money to go and buy Alisson Becker and Virgil van Dijk, and that transformed this Liverpool team. So what was initially a very unpalatable decision was dealt with very well, and that money reinvested. So for Newcastle, they're kind of bracing their fans for a similar thing. But I guess the reason I bring up Liverpool and Michael Edwards right now is, should we need that? Surely we're at a point of the club right now where the idea of having to sell players to fund purchases doesn't sit right. Because on one hand, you've got FSG and all the reporting on them to say they've been brilliant since they've come into the club. The corporate side has developed, the commercial partners have developed, Liverpool on the pitch have developed, television rights have developed, the Annie Road end has been done, the main stand has been done, and we hear lots of great stuff about the Nike contract and the money that brings into the club. So then you have that over one side. Then on the other side, your brain's hearing, but then maybe we have to move some players on. Maybe Liverpool want to refresh a little bit. And the word refresh is key there, because that makes it sound like it's just because of the age. I don't think it is. I think with Michael Edwards coming in, he may look at this and look like we do, or we don't, I should say, past the emotion and just look at the underlying numbers. So I hope that's where Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk make a very bold claim to say, well, we're not dropping off. Make sure we get in a contract extension. But we also know, as I've said at the start of this, that Edwards, he's not a fan of keeping players into their 30s by the sounds of it. And certainly when I've spoken to or messaged with people far better connected than me over this, they're a little bit concerned. And of course, as fans, every one of us, I can chat with you all and we'll say, renew, 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 because we know and we're emotionally invested with the lads. But sometimes I do look at situations and think, sometimes it is better to sell a year early than a year late. And you've heard me saying that over and over again. Sometimes it is better to sell at the right time. And I think of the three players mentioned, the likely one to be sold is Salah, for me. For a whole host of reasons. One, we know about the Saudi Pro League and their name your number briefings on Mohamed Salah. But if he does depart from Liverpool, I don't see how he progresses with his career. So I'm hoping that from Salah's side and his agent, when they come to sit down with Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards, that they're somewhat realistic in what they ask for if they're talking about a new deal. I think terms of the new deal with regards to years, all of us here, I feel confident in saying, will have no problem with Mo getting, let's say, a 2-year contract extension with the option of a third. But does he justify a pay rise? And that, I think, is key here. Because whenever we've seen Mohamed Salah and Rami Abasisa talk about Mo's future, they talk about a contract reflecting his status in the game. And he is Liverpool's highest earner, but with regards to world football's highest earners, if we take his rumoured £350,000 a week base salary, he could probably get a lot more money elsewhere. But would he have the same opportunity to fulfil his sporting side elsewhere? Because Liverpool, you can argue, will be challenging for the Premier League next year. Even though we're out of the Champions League this year, we'll be back in it next year and looking to go deep into it again. So why need for Mo to move on in that regard? And if he moved to the likes of PSG, who by all means would have the money to make Mo a higher paid player, I don't think he'd be able to achieve the same things there. So I don't view that as a step forward in his career. It's a tough one, especially around Mo, because I think he's too good to go and play in the Saudi Pro League, and I think most of you guys probably feel the same. And if he went over there, it would have to be for cultural or financial reasons. I don't know the answer to that, but I feel like that's the one I'm most concerned about. Virgil, I think we'll see a deal. I think we'll see him extend, particularly because he's played so well this season. You know, look at Virgil last year to this year, and Virgil will say himself that he never really felt like he was back at it 100% last year. He was still, I don't want to say he was doubting his own body, but he was still trying to figure out what life after the ACL looks like for him and what levels he can get back to. This year, well, statistically, he's one of, if not the best centre-back in European football. So if Michael Edwards looks at the numbers in that regard, you'd hope he sees value. Same with Mo. 7 seasons now. 7. Okay, I'm getting flashbacks with 7. 7 seasons in a row, Mohamed Salah has scored 20 plus goals. That is phenomenal. So no signs that Mo's dropping off. But I got to be honest, I wouldn't give him a pay rise. I've said this all the way through this season. I would not give him a pay rise. I'd give him a contract extension, but on the terms he's on now. Because as much as I do think Mo's brilliant and still delivering, again, put myself out there and being honest, I do feel like his best days are behind him. Not to say he isn't still hugely influential. Not to say he isn't still capable, very much so at this level. But his peak's over. I've got to say, I do feel that, truly. His best days are behind him. So that's why I personally wouldn't like to see him get a wage increase. I don't think it makes sense. But a contract increase, absolutely. So that's where I am with that. With Trent, look, I feel like it's fairly straightforward. He'll get a deal that will reflect his status, reflect his seniority in the team, and of course, tie him down because he's coming into the peak point of his career right now, and he's developed at Liverpool, won everything at Liverpool, his experience with Liverpool, and obviously he's a local boy. So that's where I'm at with the 3 contracts that are due to be negotiated. And just to go a little bit further, Matip and Thiago, no thank you. Thank you for your service, particularly Joel Matip, but no way on earth would I be looking at giving a new contract out. Now, it's already been spoken about that Thiago is going to be departing in the summer. But on Joel Matip, there's no room for sentimentality here. Like, help him get back to fitness. Absolutely. And if he hasn't got a club by that point, absolutely allow him to use the facility. Absolutely allow him to work with the coaches. But we can't have sentimentality. We need to refresh the age of the team. And I think with his contract being up, it's the right time to say goodbye to him. Difficult decision to make. And then, of course, we talk about Caoimhín Kelleher and his contract situation. Yeah, it's interesting. And one more before I finish up and come back over to you guys for your thoughts. Andy Robertson. There's been a lot of talk about clubs interested in him and about whether he'll get back to his level. Now, I think he will, and I definitely don't want to sell him. But we've seen Bayern Munich mentioned and a couple of other clubs. So where are we at with the left-back situation? Because I'm comfortable with Robbo, but I'm not really comfortable with Costas. I don't feel Costas has pushed on to the point where I feel like if Andy Robertson hangs up his boots, Costas is going to be our left-back. I'm not there with Costas, and that's the reason why I feel like I'd be open to selling Costas Tsimikas this summer and then bringing in another left-back. Or maybe if the new manager coming in likes to look at Chambers, and there was another young player coming through whose name escapes me at this moment in time. So these are all decisions that are going to have to be taken soon. But now it's over to you. So let me know what you think. Van Dijk, Salah, Trent, what would you do in this situation? Robertson, is there any need to look to sell? And with Matip and Thiago, do you agree with me, or would you like to see maybe Matip given a new deal? Surely Joel gets a new contract, said Zinedine Zulfikar. Why? Why? Look at it this way. He's around the same age of Verge, right? And Verge openly said it took him a year to get back, after he was playing, a year to get back to where he started to trust his body a bit and his performances were getting back to levels that he felt happy with. We don't have that time. We can't give a contract to Joel Matip, who may not even be ready for the start of next season, and that's before he gets back to levels. I feel like it's too risky with an ACL at that age. I do. I just think it's too risky, and we've got an easy get out because his contract's up. I know it's not nice to say, but it's business. It isn't a personal thing, and you can't run football clubs with emotion because you go bankrupt. So that's where I am with Joel. I love Joel Matip. He's been an amazing servant and one of the best free transfers we've ever had at the club. You could argue himself, Milner, McAllister, all absolutely incredible free signings. But, you know, time waits for nobody, and at this moment it feels like it's right to say thank you, but, you know, we move on. And also I wonder how much Jurgen Klopp and his departure will impact some of these negotiations. So I don't think with Virgin Mo, based off what they've said, it doesn't look like they're looking for a way out or going to try and use the manager situation as a springboard to maybe launch themselves into a new club. Felt like both of them, when I've seen them speak in interviews, have said yes, it was shocking news. Obviously none of us expected it, but they still feel like the project's in good hands. So hopefully we get positive news. Trent has to get a contract. That would be my number one priority if I was Edwards, said Neville and Moodley. I agree. I mean, that's a no-brainer, surely. Because honestly, let's say we went into the summer transfer window and Trent hadn't got a new deal. If you're Real Madrid and you're looking at him and you're thinking, right, we need fullbacks. Let's lean on Jude Bellingham and his friendship there with Trent and see if we can't get in his ear. I mean, it's dangerous, right? So that, I agree, Nevlin. That would be a deal that has to get done and done quickly. Now, what concerns me a little bit is Ludonautics, the company that Michael Edwards was a co-founder with Dr. Ian Graham. So he's handed in his notice and he will depart fully in the summer, in June. And I think the same with Richard Hughes. So my question is, what happens in the meantime? Is Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes kind of going to be job sharing, you know, between their other jobs and where they are now? Because there's a handover process underway for Richard Hughes at Bournemouth and with Michael Edwards. So I hope we don't have to wait until June. I hope behind the scenes they can at least start the process, because there's a lot to be done this summer. And don't forget, you've got the Copa America, you've got the Euros, you've got Liverpool heading over to the United States as well. So this is going to be a really busy period to get these contract renewals in, to get a manager in, to put other senior roles at the club in position like Michael Edwards has spoken about, and then to do some transfer business. Crazy times. When in the world do you become so cold and be without sentiment? This is shocking. Like money and success is everything. What? I feel like, so you're taking me saying Joel Matip's out of contract and injured and me saying I don't think you should get a new deal is heartless and cold. Mate, with all due respect, it is a business. It is sport. And we do need players who are going to be able to play. And we don't know how Joe Matip's going to recover. We don't even know if he'll be ready for the start of next season. It could be 2, 3, 4 months into next season before he's even ready to get back to challenging to be in the team. So I don't feel this is a heartless decision. I feel like this is common sense. You know, if this was your money that you were handing out, I don't think you'd be so free with the money. And it's not my money either, by the way. I'm not trying to make out it is, but we have to be somewhat realistic. You know, we can't all say, because vibes and best wishes, that we just throw out contracts to people. That would be weird. I think Van Dijk and Ali should end their careers at Liverpool. Certainly with Van Dijk. I don't know about ALISSON, because keepers can play a lot longer. So I feel like ALISSON, I don't know, I wonder will he go back and play in Brazil at some point. I feel like he might go back towards the latter part of his career for a year or two in Brazil. Don't listen, mate. You know you're right. Oh, I know I am. But I can also appreciate the other side of it. I do understand where that person was coming from about it may be feeling cold, but somebody will have to make decisions that are going to be unpalatable, because you can't please everybody all the time. And, you know, it's all very well and good you saying that. But if I said to you, Liverpool can't buy Inacio or Hincapié because they're going to be tying up money in a Virgil van Dijk contract extension, I'd like to know what your response would be to that. So if Michael Edwards had a press conference in the summer and said, ladies and gentlemen, Liverpool Football Club delighted to announce a 2-year contract extension for Joel Matip. Joel will be back with the first team when he recovers from his ACL. And because of that, Liverpool won't be going into the market for a centre-back. I don't think you'd have the same feeling at that point. I don't think you'd be sitting here saying to me, Craig, that's heartless and cold. And when did you become and the world become so ruthless? So, you know, these things do affect other things. Branthwaite, Euros, not Kwanzaa, debate. You want me to debate who should be going or which one? I'm glad Kwanzaa isn't going, because I want him to, you know, rest and have a holiday and be ready for the new campaign. So selfishly, I don't care if he's not in the England squad yet. Branthwaite, I think he's an incredible talent and further along in his development probably a little bit than Kwanzaa. If I'm not incorrect, I think Branthwaite had a loan last season. I'm trying to think back. But look, he's a great player. And I think United are going to make a big play to try and bring him in based off what I've been seeing in the media. Stephen said, ridiculous idea to sell ALISSON. So, again, I'm not sure when you popped in, Stephen, but I'm going to reiterate, not my idea. Darren Bent talked about Liverpool, and he said his exact words were, 1 second, he was bought for £67 million. I'm going to go with, he's 31 years of age, goalkeepers can go on. I'm going to say he goes for around 70 or 80 million pound while talking about the idea of Liverpool selling. He said that would be a reasonable fee for the Brazilian star, but it's pointless discussing it now because, you know, it's not our decision. But it is a talking point, and I just wanted to bring it up. I am not for 1 second. I know people see titles of streams and think it's a quote from me or whatever, but surely at this point you guys know that, you know, we take these talking points from elsewhere and use it as just that. Pro said, I wish Arsenal got through in the quarters because they'll have to play 5 or 6 games in the space of 14 days and it will be good for us in the title race. Yes, I'd love Arsenal to go through. Look, I just despise Man City, so I hope Arsenal can get through that side of the draw. Question though, I can't remember when Arsenal lost to Barcelona in the Champions League final. Was that also at Wembley or was it elsewhere? I can't remember all the way back then. How much would you value Darwin at? $120 to $150 in euro. So a bit above what we paid. Liverpool, if all the clauses are triggered in Darwin's deal, it's about €100 million. About, I don't know what the exchange rate is at the minute, about £83 million. So I'd say right now I think he's probably worth about 120 to 150 million euro. Has anybody seen ALISSON at recent games or around AXA? Yes, Tommy, he's been pictured on a spin bike inside the AXA training facility, so he has been doing a little bit of exercise. One question, though, that I want to ask you, and I'm going to put this one to a poll, because somebody mentioned it to me the other day, and I'd never really given much thought about it. One sec. Make sure I've read this out. Okay, cool. So somebody said to me the other day that they would view Alisson Becker as becoming a little bit injury prone. I never really thought of it like that. I never believed he was. But I wanted to ask you guys, are Alisson Becker and his hamstring injury something that you're concerned about? Do you think this could be an issue moving forward? I guess it's hard to answer this when we don't know the exact medical prognosis, but I don't think of him off the top of my head as being injury prone. But for a goalkeeper, he has had some spells out, I guess. How much do you think Arsenal and City's Champions League matches will affect them in the league? Well, it depends, because by the time those games come around, Man City and Arsenal would have played in the Premier League. And if Arsenal were to beat Man City, I think Man City are not out of the title race, but I think they're pretty much out of the title race. I can't see 4 points being clawed back in the last 9 games at Liverpool if we were to go at the top, or at Arsenal. So I think they may focus more on those Champions League two-legged semi-final or quarterfinals against Madrid, and it's a tough tie. I mean, I'm going to be honest and say I think the winner of that tie wins the Champions League. And I hope to God Real Madrid can beat them. But with the second leg being at the Etihad, I don't know. But I would also say that it looks like De Bruyne is not fully fit. Pep Guardiola was talking today. I think he tried to disguise it a little bit when somebody pulled him up in his own words. He said that, well, no players are ever 100% fit. But I did say to you when De Bruyne came back from his long spell out that I think this is going to be an ongoing problem and Kevin De Bruyne is going to have to be managed. And it looks like that could be the case here. So I don't think all is as well at City as we are led to believe. I feel like there could be the starting of a few cracks there. I bet you Haaland's going to angle for a move away in the next 18 months. De Bruyne is probably coming to the end of his peak of his career now. And I think they're going to struggle to find solutions. I think they'll wipe the floor with Arsenal. So do I, in all honesty, Stan. If I was to give you a prediction now for that City-Arsenal game, I'm saying City win it by a couple of goals. Yeah, I think if Arsenal can go to the Emirates and deliver, or excuse me, the Etihad and deliver a victory, that would make a massive statement. But I also know that I just watched Arsenal go life and death with Porto, who we easily dealt with last time we played them. So I don't know. I'm still struggling to gauge the level Arsenal are really, really at, because I feel like if Rice got injured or Saka got injured for any length of time, they'd be in trouble. They've been a little bit fortunate in that regard. Darwizzy said Darren Bent is a clown. I would say most people that work for TalkSport would fall in that category for me. I don't know why anybody would willingly work for TalkSport. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like the way they operate, but I'm not going to disagree with you. Arsenal don't have the depth to fight on all fronts, said Big Man. City's fixtures between and each of the Real Madrid and Palace, Luton or Spurs. Sorry, I'm going to read that again, Ben. City's fixtures between Real Madrid ties are Palace, Luton and Spurs. Look, City have a difficult run at the minute. They had United, then they've us, then they've got Arsenal. So if they could get through that and be within striking distance of a point at the top, you know, maybe. But if they lose points to Arsenal at the Etihad, I feel like we're in the box seat at that point. I really do. Oh, it was the Stade de France. Thank you. Mark has just let me know the Arsenal-Barcelona final was the Stade de France. Thank you, mate. I completely drawn a blank on where that one was. When is the match preview coming out? 10 a.m. 10 a.m. tomorrow, because tomorrow's my day off. So preview will be out at 10 a.m. It's already recorded and ready to go. And there'll be another video coming out tomorrow evening. What's your views on Clark, Craig? Don't you think once the injured are back, midfield is going to be overcrowded? It's an interesting point. And actually on that, I've got a few words here from Bobby Clark's dad, who was speaking on a podcast, and he said, "My ultimate wish would absolutely be to see Bobby playing for Newcastle," said his father on the No Tippy Tappy Football podcast. He went on to say, "I don't know how many father and son combinations have both appeared for the club. I was lucky enough to play for Newcastle for 265 times, and who knows, he might have to do an Alan Shearer and come back. That would be my dream." He went on to say that when Bobby... not Bobby. Craig, stop speaking. When Bobby told him about Klopp leaving, that he was pretty devastated about it. Clark, I mean, the son, not the father. But it seems his father, Lee, would like him to go back up and play for Newcastle at some point. And that's understandable. We did bring him in from Newcastle. His dad did play for Newcastle. But to answer your question, I think a loan is probably the best course of action for Bobby Clark next season. A good high-level loan. Because he showed me in the last few weeks that he is ready for top level football. He was standout in that game in midfield yesterday. I thought he was absolutely incredible against Sparta Prague. If Mo wasn't on the pitch, he would have been my man of the match. And I think a good level loan for him. Now, whether that's to Europe to give him some experience, maybe playing in somewhere like, I don't know, the Bundesliga, or whether that is to another English club, I don't know. But yeah, I feel like his future will be with us at the top level. But you are right in saying with everybody back from injury, we do have quite a few midfielders, yes, and by Chetic to come back in as well. So I get where you're coming from. But this season, he's been incredible, and full credit to him, and McConnell as well. Clark to Southampton, said the Red Machine. Can I have a shout out? There you go. Of course you can, Farrell Sisters. I mean, I feel like we've already said hello to you earlier on, but welcome in. What's the best result for us in the City game against Arsenal? I think it depends on who you speak to. A lot of people will tell you a draw. I think an Arsenal win is the best result. I think an Arsenal win is probably the best result for us, because in my brain that would kick City out of the title race then pretty much, and I'd back us going head to head with Arsenal, because I think they've got trickier fixtures coming up. But somebody else might say to you a draw, somebody else might say a City win. So I guess it depends on who you think's more likely to drop points. I think City draw to Arsenal and Spurs. I think Arsenal will lose to Spurs too. City draw with Arsenal and Spurs. I can see the Arsenal one, and look, they haven't had good results when they've gone to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, so anything's possible there. Spurs against Arsenal. Oh, really difficult to gauge derbies. Anything's possible in that game, honestly, because I don't think, if Spurs have their best 11 out and Arsenal have their best 11 out, I don't think there's all that much between them. Defensively, Arsenal will be more solid, but I don't know. I can see them dropping points. I think for us, looking through the fixtures, there's a couple of fixtures maybe we drop points in, but I can't see us dropping more than 4. 2 draws between now and the end of the season for me, and the rest wins. That's what I've looked at with the league table. Hope your family as well, said Craig Hawkins. Struggle with mental health as well. Long story. Wanted you to know your channel smashing it, and my FIFA 23 Liverpool career mode has kept me sane. Appreciate you being in, Craig. Thank you, mate. And it's great to have people like yourself who tune in every night, contribute, watch with us, talk with your fellow Liverpool fans and myself. And I hope things are in a brighter spot for you now, sir. And thank you for your kind words, and enjoy your career mode. Jimmy Barrett, how are you, Jimmy? Said, just been gifted a membership, much appreciated. You'll never walk alone, Craig. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, mate. I mean, we've had 105 gifted memberships tonight already, which is absolutely incredible. So again, thank you to JC and Brian for those gifted memberships. Really, really, really top level lads. Thank you so much. What do you think about Clark to Hull City? I honestly, I'd want Bobby Clark to go to a Premier League club. I think that's his level. You know, Tyler Morton is there or thereabouts, and has done really well in both of his spells. But I think Bobby Clark, I'd want him at a higher level. Whether that's to a newly promoted team, maybe. Yeah, maybe if Southampton come back up, or Leeds maybe, I don't know. I mean, if Archie Gray got moved on in the summer, he could maybe go in there and help Leeds for the season. I don't know, it's a difficult one. And I'm sure that the club will sit down, obviously, and make the best pitch to him about where to go or what to do. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on this, by the way, and maybe he just stays with the first team at this point. Craig, when you were a goalkeeper, did you sustain any injuries? Also, have you heard about the Belgian defender Mark de Man? He's actually a real person. No, I haven't. And injuries? No, not really. I was kind of lucky in that regard. Worst thing that ever happened to me really was a burst nose by getting an elbow in the face when I went to catch a ball, and get my hand caught between the crossbar and the ball once gave me swollen fingers. But no, I was lucky. Never really anything serious injury wise. Best community on YouTube, said Jake Ledger. Thank you, mate. And I agree. Anfield Agenda community are absolutely amazing. Fulham, yeah, Fulham could be a decent shout as well. Loan to Brighton, said Craig Hawkins. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, again, these are all very, very good shouts. Craig to 1 million. Irish guy is racing, Craig. Let's go, Anfield. Thank you. I don't think we'll ever get 1 million subscribers, to be honest, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. I didn't think we'd get 100,000. I didn't think we'd get 150,000. And I certainly didn't think we'd get 250,000. So the whole thing to me at this point is a dream. So yeah, look, if you haven't subscribed, please do. And also, don't forget, download SofaScore. Link in the description, link pinned to the top of the chat, and the QR code on the screen will all get you to download the SofaScore app. It does help the channel out. It's free for you guys to do, and look, honestly, I think you'll really enjoy it. The feedback we've received from people that have tried SofaScore has been nothing but positive. Craig, what's this? How could I get to know when your live shows will be live, because I don't know what is your time each day, and I'm subscribed to for a long time. So I can tell you when they'll be. 4 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. UK Irish time, unless it's a match day. So we try to stream twice a day on non-match days, 4 o'clock in the afternoon and 8:30 p.m. That's the usual two time frames. The one that's definitely nailed on is the 8:30 one. Sometimes the day after a match, we don't have notifications for a 4 p.m. stream, so we might not do one. But usually they're the way. So we plan out our schedule like this. 12 p.m, there's a clip that goes out from the night before. 4 p.m, we do an hour-long live show. 6 p.m, the news video for the day comes out, where I give you a brief synopsis of what's been doing the rounds. And then 8:30, we go back into the late night agenda, this stream again. So if ever you do want to plan out a schedule, 4 o'clock and 8:30. Barry, how are we, mate? Barry Taylor said, hope you're having a good day. ALISSON has played 194 out of a possible 218 Premier League games to date, which equates to 89%. Bring on Sunday. Sweet. So I did ask, do you have any concern about ALISSON's injuries? We've had that up at 13 minutes. We'll leave the poll going. But so far, almost 2/3 of you have said no concerns about it. And I'd be in that camp as well, by the way. I only brought it up because somebody said it to me and I thought, have I missed it? Do I have red tinted glasses on about ALISSON? Craig, you have to let us know who the 250,000 subscriber is. We won't know, James. We don't get that information. Yeah, I've no idea. I couldn't tell you who any of the milestone subscribers have been because we don't have access to that. That's a lot of live time. Wow. I try, mate. I try to do as much as we can. This is my job, so it's not just my job. It's my job. It's Connor's job. It's Ben's job, and we are a legitimate, fully registered business. So we try to make sure that we stream consistently, and sometimes the 4 p.m. stream works for other people. Sometimes the 8:30 stream works. So we try to cover all bases. Plus, I love doing it. In all honesty, mate, I can't wait to get on and chat with you guys each day. Craig, I saw a thread on Twitter showing Clark loan to Wolves will be brilliant for his growth because of how they play. Thoughts? Again, another really good shout. Gary O'Neill obviously has a connection back to Liverpool from his coaching days as a youth team coach. And he's doing really, really well with Wolves at the minute. Style of football, as you've said, it's I can see Bobby Clark slotting in there easily. Yeah, it's a good shout. I think it would be an astute piece of business for Wolves for the season, and again, incredible for him to go and play Premier League football if indeed Liverpool decide a loan is the best course of action. True Red said almost $250,000, Craig. So happy for you. I know it's honestly freaky at this point. I feel like Ashton Kutcher's going to walk in and tell me I'm punked at any minute, or Jeremy Beadle for those of you who are as old as I am. Yeah, mate, it doesn't feel real at this point. Honestly, I keep expecting someone to tell me it's all a mistake. Craig, is the reason why Gravenberch's not been playing because of a lack of matches he had at Bayern, or is he injury prone? Injuries at the moment anyway, there was he. Look, it did take a while for him to get up to speed, and Klopp did say when he came in and he started playing, even when he was getting some game time, that he was nowhere near his prime or peak because he didn't have a lot of game time at Bayern Munich. So I don't know when we see Ryan Gravenberch really at his best, but I'm looking forward to it because it's been a mixed bag this season. I thought he started well, fallen off a little bit. Obviously now he's been injured for a few weeks, but he's a great addition to have in and around the team, and yeah, he's a good utility player. You can play him in 3 or 4 positions probably, and look, it's so difficult to talk about any of these guys in futures, be it Bobby Clark, Mohamed Salah, Trent, Virgil, ALISSON, because we don't know the manager. And that's why when we talk about transfers for next year, I really haven't got a clue where to go with it, because I don't know what the preference for the new manager will be. Let's say it's Alonso and our system's different. Maybe we don't need the wingers. Maybe we look to bring in an extra number 10. Maybe Carvalho finds a way back into the first team fold. Until we know that managerial situation is all boxed off, then it's tough. Thank you, True Reds, mate. I read your comment there again. Thank you. Really, really kind of you. Endo, Maka, Szoboszlai, Jones, Clark are our best midfielders. Gravenberch and Bajcetic need to go out on loan. Loads of room for interchange midfield players. Not a hope Gravenberch goes out on loan. Not a chance in hell he goes out on loan. No manager, no matter who it is coming in, is sending him out on loan. Gravenberch, Bajcetic, I would suggest once he gets back and gets over this fatigue, as Jurgen described it, I think he's going to be our rotational player for Endo, so I don't think he's going to go out on loan. What else did you say in your comment there? Endo, Maka, Szoboszlai, Jones and Clark are our best midfielders. I would say a bit early on Clark there, as much as I do love the fact you're behind the kid. Endo, Maka, Szoboszlai, Jones. No Elliot in there now? I mean, surely to God at this point Elliot has to make that list of top-notch players. I'm still baffled that some people don't list or rate Elliot. Craig, do you have access to membership? Because I have been a subscriber since 2019, all the way from South Africa, and you're my motivation through my difficult times. I don't know what you mean by do I have access to memberships? I don't know what the question means. Do we have access to see who is a member? Absolutely. Yes, we can see that. After that, I don't know what you mean. Like, is there a technical issue you need help with or something? If that's the case, let me know. Any Jota update? Yes. They reckon Trent and Jota will be a week after the international break. Let me just read through what Kloppo said earlier on so we can give you guys a heads up. 1 second, just get my notes open. Did anybody see Fernando Torres, by the way, doing boxing training in a Trent shirt? Love that. So this is what Kloppo said earlier on about injuries. Curtis has a chance for the international break, meaning Curtis could be back in first team training throughout the break. Then Diogo and Trent the week after. So again, not too far away now till we get Trent and Diogo Jota back. Bajcetic feels something, but it's not injuries, it's intensity. We don't want to use him before he's really ready. His body was not really ready for the intensity. He's in a much better place now, but we have to wait. Part of team training after the international break. So again, that's where we're kind of at with those guys. What else we got? You got to say Gomez has been a revelation. Absolutely. Absolutely. So important this year. Joe Gomez and his versatility and the positions he's been able to cover for us when we've had injuries. Absolutely. Incredibly important to us. Craig, all fan bases have these weird sections who have agendas versus the players. We had it with Elliott, Gakpo, Arsenal have it with Havertz, United have it with a couple of their own fans. But you see, here's the thing. Fair enough if somebody says they don't rate a player. But when that player then goes on to have a really good spell, that's backed up not only by fan opinion, but by data and analytics, then you have an agenda. So for instance, I said for years I didn't rate Curtis Jones. But when Curtis Jones started playing better, I sat here and ate my humble pie and said, wow, didn't see it coming, delighted for him. And that's the part. If you refuse to change your stance, then you've got an issue with a player in my eyes. If you're not willing to look at what the numbers are showing and what other people are seeing and take that on board, then you've got an agenda. And then it's a bigger problem, realistically. We should all be willing to change our views. They should move from time to time, depending on form and various other factors. And there are some, like Gravenberch. Good example for me. When we were signing Ryan Gravenberch, you guys said, Craig, what do you think of this signing? And I said, honestly, I'm nervous about it. I'm unsure if there's a reason as to why he hasn't worked under a couple of managers at Bayern. And why would they be willing to sell him? So he came into Liverpool, knuckled down, had a good start. And I said, oh, looks like I was wrong to be nervous around Ryan Gravenberch. And I adjusted my views. And I think that's a healthy thing. That's the way I look at it anyway. If you're refusing to acknowledge what everybody else is seeing, then I think you're in the I have an agenda against X or Y category. For instance, nobody will ever convince me that Adrian San Miguel is a good goalkeeper. Nobody. Doesn't matter if he goes on and keeps 15 clean sheets in a row. In my head, I am too far gone that I will admit I can't be saved when it comes to Adrian. We nearly got Caicedo, but we got Endo. I think we did well. Well, look, one of the biggest value signings of the summer. Craig, I'm from Australia. Can I get a shout out? I've been here for a long time. Liverpool FN, all the way in Australia. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Dylan Adams said, I'm sorry I'm late, Craig. Can I have a quick roundup? Yes, absolutely. So Darren Bent has suggested the idea of Liverpool getting 70 or 80 million pound for Alisson Becker. Rio Ferdinand was debating whether Kelleher was better than Onana or not. We asked, should Liverpool look to potentially cash in on Alisson? People said no, rightly. We then asked the question, and the poll is still live, is Alisson Becker starting to become a bit injury prone perhaps? We spoke about Jurgen Klopp and his updates on the players and when they're going to be back from injuries. We obviously went through the draws for the Europa League and the Champions League. Little bit from Lee Clark, Bobby Clark's father, on why he'd like him to go back and play for Newcastle someday. And I think that was pretty much it. I do have some stats, though, from our friends at SofaScore, which is, you know, why I keep saying to you, download SofaScore from the link in the description or the QR code. They've given us some stats with regards to the last 10 games between... the games between these teams. It's been 5 wins for Liverpool, 3 draws and 2 losses in their record against Manchester United. For United, 2 wins, 3 draws and 5 losses in the last 10 games against Liverpool. Goals per game, Liverpool have managed 2.6 against Manchester United on average over those last 10 games, to Manchester United's 0.8. Goals conceded, average of 2.6 obviously for Manchester United and 0.8 for Liverpool. Total shots per game, Liverpool have averaged 17.6 shots every time they face United, and United 9.7. Big chances per game, Liverpool 3.4, Manchester United 2.1. Clean sheet percentage, Liverpool have 60% of clean sheets in the last 10 games against United, Manchester United with just 2, meaning 20%. And Sofa Scores rating, Liverpool have a rating of 7.16 in the games against Manchester United from the last 10, and United have a Sofa Score rating of 6.7. So as I said, it is a fantastic app full of incredible information, even heat maps here for Hoyland and Nunes and comparisons between the two of them. So matches started, 30 matches for Rasmus Hoyland, 41 matches for Darwin Nunes. Goals and assists for Hoyland, 13 goals, 2 assists. For Darwin, 17 goals, 11 assists. Shots per game, Rasmus Hoyland averaging 1.5 shots a game, with Darwin Nunes 3.2 strikes per game. Scoring frequency every 168 minutes for Rasmus Hoyland versus every 139 minutes for Darwin Nunes. Big chance conversion, again, this is where Hoyland comes in a little bit better. He's converted 35% of his big chances. Darwin Nunes 22%, so definitely room for improvement there. And again, Sofa Scores average rating for these two gents in their games this season. Hoyland has scored 6.93 with Darwin Nunes averaging 7.17. All of this and lots more really cool and interesting information, stats and stuff is available with the Sofa Score app that you can download entirely free with a link in the description, pinned to the chat, or with a QR code. That's why I love the app, by the way. That level of detail that you can find in there, as well as, of course, their own algorithm, which gives you scores for each player's performance based on their metrics. Lots of cool fixture lists, and every sport you can think of covered. Darwin's XG goals is much worse at Anfield than away in the Premier League. Look, I love Darwin. I love him. And I'm so glad he's a Liverpool player, honestly. I know he will have moments where we all want to smash the TV, but the other moments make it all worthwhile. The Newcastle game, those 2 goals off the bench. He's just incredible. Absolutely. Just unbelievable. The header as well recently. Just brilliant. I love it. And long may it continue. The header against Forest was amazing. And his movement for that as well. The way he just dropped back into the space a little bit. It feels like he's getting there week by week, and his intensity and his effort is just admirable. Or admirable, as most normal people pronounce it. I would love to win on Sunday and relax through the break. My hair is getting greyer. Yeah, look, it'd be lovely to go into the international break off the back of a win. Definitely. It's a long old 2 weeks, isn't it? If you don't get the win before the break, but I feel like we'll be alright, you know. And look, it does have to come to a conclusion on Sunday, so whether it's extra time and penalties, it's going to be sorted on Sunday. And we'll be live from 2:30 here for the watch along on the channel, an hour before kickoff. It is a 3:30 kickoff on Sunday, just a reminder for that. And yeah, score prediction. Okay, I'll give you my score prediction, but I still want you to watch the preview tomorrow. It comes out at 10 a.m. I went 3-1. 3-1 win for Liverpool. That's my prediction for the game on Sunday. So, my friends, I'm going to go and start my weekend. Tomorrow's my day off, so I'm going to go spend some time this evening with the missus, and I will catch you all on Sunday. So, preview will be out tomorrow at 10 a.m. Another video coming out tomorrow night at about 6. And if I don't see you over the weekend, I hope to see you on Sunday for the game. 2:30, our watch along starts right here. Thank you to everyone tonight again, to JC, to Brian for the gifted memberships. Thank you to everybody who joined us. Don't forget to download SofaScore. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. And, oh yeah, don't forget, this time next week in Boston. Hope to see you there. Much love, my friends. Have a cracking weekend. Thank you as always.